Welcome to Vets. We are veterans embracing transition and synchronicity. My name is Gaston. I am the owner of Vets. Today, I'll be your transition guide. Today's subject, while it's probably one of the most significant subjects to recently separated veterans, it's probably one of the most difficult to understand as well. As a matter of fact, I don't even think scholar-level mathematicians understand VA math. So, let's start with the beginning. What is VA math? VA math is used to combine the military disability ratings of multiple conditions to give a veteran a single overall or combined rating. In other words, if a person has more than one condition that is rated for military disability, then each of the ratings are combined together using VA math to give one overall rating. This single rating is then used to determine the exact type and amount of military disability benefits the veteran receives. VA math is used for both DoD disability and VA disability. So here's how VA math works. Each condition is a percentage of the disability of the service member. When combined together, however, each percentage is not a percentage of the entire service member, but a percentage of what is left after other percentages have been subtracted. Got that? No? Well, here's an example. Billy's entire body is equal to 100%. Let's say that Billy has 3 rated conditions. The first is a knee injury that is rated at 30%. The second is a shoulder injury rated at 20%. The last is a back injury rated at 10%. Instinct would assume that the combined ratings would be 60%, 30 plus 20 plus 10. Unfortunately, that's not the case with VA math. First, start with the largest rating, 30%. This rating is then subtracted from the total body rating of 100%. Of the total body, now only 70% remains. So instead of simply subtracting 20 for the shoulders rated 20%, you can only subtract 20% of the 70 that is left, which is 14. 70 minus 14 is 56. Now, since only 14 was subtracted from the total body, only 14 is added to the total combined rating. Take a deep breath and follow along with the table. This might help some. Now, for the last 10%, again, we can only subtract 10% of what is left of the total body. Thus, 10% of 56 is 5.6. 56 minus 5.6 is 50.4. And again, since only 5.6 was subtracted from the total body, only 5.6 is added to the combined rating so far. Billy's rating is 30% plus 14% plus 5.6%, equaling up to 49.6%. Once all the conditions are counted, then the total combined rating is rounded to the nearest 10. 49.6 rounded up, therefore equals 50%, a 50% combined rating. So, do you understand VA math yet? If your answer is no, grab a pencil and a piece of paper and walk through the example of yourself. It really does help to do the steps yourself. If your answer is yes, great. There's more to come. Depending on the veteran, the list of conditions can sometimes be pretty extensive, and the VA math becomes even more confusing. So here's a more complex example. And remember, simply follow the format of the example and focus on one condition at a time. It's VA math time. Add the rating from the largest to the smallest, regardless of the order they are listed on the rating decision. Pause the video, take a look at the rating decisions, and then look at our chart here. Does your math add up? Let me know what you got in the comment section. You got it yet? Well, we're sure you're doing the best you can. And if this were elementary school, we'd give you a golden sticker for giving it your best try. But there's one final caveat to add to the VA math equation. The bilateral factor. An additional 10%, the bilateral factor, is added to the VA math equation if a veteran has both arms or both legs affected by 2 rateable conditions. A bilateral factor is added when both arms or both legs have a rated condition, even if one of them is rated at 0%. That being said, if there is a right knee condition and a left knee condition that are both rated, then you get an additional 10%. The point of the bilateral factor is to take into account the fact that if you have a problem with your right leg, then a problem in your left leg will just make it worse, and vice versa. It is easier to deal with the condition if the opposite part of your body can compensate. The conditions do not have to be identical for the bilateral factor to apply. If you have a left hip condition and a right foot condition, you will still get an extra 10% since each condition affects the opposite lower extremity. If there are 4 conditions, one affecting each of the 4 extremities, then all 4 ratings are combined before the bilateral factor is calculated and added. Here's the VA math catch. The key to adding the extra 10% is that it is not a 10% as though it were another condition, but it is 10% of the combined rating of 2 or more bilateral conditions. Once those conditions are combined, then 10% of that value and the group of bilateral conditions is then treated as a single condition and combined with any other conditions. Yeah, whoever thought of this was nuts. If a bilateral factor is added, always calculate the bilateral factor with its condition first. Then rank the remaining conditions. The combined bilateral conditions now count as a single condition from highest rating to lowest, and continue with normal VA math. So if Sally has 3 conditions, a right foot rated at 20%, and a left foot rated at 10%, and the back rated at 40%, the foot conditions would be combined first since they are bilateral. Even though the back condition is rated higher, the bilateral factor is then added to the combined rating of the foot conditions. So if Sally has 3 conditions, a right foot rated at 20%, a left foot rated at 10%, and a back rated at 40%, the foot conditions would be combined first, since they are bilateral, even though the back condition is rated higher. The bilateral factor is then added to the combined rating of foot conditions. That rating is rounded to the nearest whole number and then becomes the rating of a single bilateral condition that is combined with the remaining back. As you can see, since all the ratings are rounded to the nearest 10, at the end, the bilateral factor may not be very helpful in raising the overall rating. In this case, Sally would have received 60% even without the bilateral factor, but in other cases, it may make a critical difference. Consider the example. Sally would have received 60% even without the bilateral factor, but in other cases, it may make a critical difference. Let's take a look at a different example. Marcus has 3 conditions, a right shoulder rated at 20%, a left arm rated at 20%, and a back rated at 10%. The 2 arm conditions are combined first, and then the bilateral factor is added to their combined rating. That rating is rounded to the nearest whole number and then becomes the rating of a single bilateral condition that is combined with the back condition. Without the bilateral factor, Marcus's conditions would have combined to 43%, which rounds down to 40% of a final rating. So not only did the bilateral factor get Marcus's rating to a higher 10%, it also pushed him to the 50% rating that qualifies him for CRDP. That's huge. Regardless, if you have 2 bilateral conditions, you get the extra 10%. Congratulations, you've passed VA math. If you haven't already, go find your conditions so you can practice your VA math. And also, if you have any further questions, feel free to send us an email here at the Vets Organization. I'll be more than happy to assist you in finding your total combined rating and explaining to you why your rating may not be as high as you thought it should be. Be sure to like the video and comment with your feedback. Also, subscribe to our channel, hit the notification bell so you don't miss any new content that we put out. As I always remind you, we are vets, veterans embracing transition and synchronicity. Thank you for your service.